As I said, a regular season and tournament, and I think the recognition that we've gotten from the other A10 coaches is on that same level of what we want to do. I think the biggest thing we've talked to the team about is we are not going to sneak up on people anymore. When you're picked 11th and 5th, I think people will think, well, that's the GW teams of the past. Well, we're ready to be the GW team of now and live up to those expectations, but any expectations that other people put in front of us are nowhere close to the ones I think both the young women in front of you here, as well as the rest of their teammates and my coaching staff and Patrick Nero as our athletic director. We're ready to start writing some more chapters in GW women's basketball history.
Questions for Coach Tsipis and student athletes?
With some of your underclassmen coming back, what does that add to the team as far as just them having a season under their belt? How does that help you as far as in the locker room and just on the court period?
Well, I think besides we have a big freshman class, and so I think the first thing you challenge to the returners are how they're going to help those freshmen adjust and make them better every single day. I think somebody that has been here for a little while that hasn't had the opportunity yet to be on the floor in a game situation is Lauren Chase, who was, as you may or may not know, was the American East Rookie of the Year at UMBC and transferred in and was not able to play last year due to injury. But I think, Caira and Hannah can talk about the discussions we've had last year as freshmen, that opportunity to compete for a starting position. And nothing was given to them. They went out and earned that right to be there. I think that they will tell you that now there's more expectation. Whether it's something that's been handed to them, more importantly, I think what they've put in front of themselves is they expect to collectively fill from a leadership, from a productivity standpoint, the losses that we've had. And I think the one word that characterizes kind of the sophomore class and all the returners is they want that challenge and they accept that challenge. And I think that's what we expect. I think we're deeper now, but they're no longer going to be, I didn't realize that freshman played that much or started. They're all of a sudden have moved up on that scouting report, and we challenge them with that every single day. But again, I think in their own minds that they're competitive and they want to take that next step in their process.
Team that scored a lot of points last year, but now you have 3 players on the preseason all-defensive team. Do you think that you're expecting a little bit more of a grinded-out, low-scoring style of play, or do you think you will be more defensively?
So my goal would be that we continue to play as fast as we've played in the past, if not faster, but that we're better defensively. I think that is something from year 1 to year 2, because we were able to score more last year, that we were maybe not as good defensively as I would have liked. I'd like to be able to do both of those. I'd like to win games where we can hold people, under 30% from the field and maybe hold them under 50 points, but still be in that realm of where we were scoring, 76, 78 points a game. We work a lot on defense. As I've mentioned, I'm very proud of Keisha and Caira and Jay of making the preseason all-defensive team. But that award does not give them one charge, one block, one extra rebound. It's a mentality I think we have to have as a team, that there are going to be some nights where the ball just doesn't go in, and how can we win games on those nights when our defense is really good. Not just on those nights, but more on a consistent basis, and not win games 78-76.
Jonathan, a lot of local teams on your non-conference schedule, Meriden, Maryland, Georgetown. How important is it to not just make inroads in the A10, but also locally? Because there was a time when Maryland and GW were the 2 programs in the area that were winning the most games.
Yeah, I think basketball in the DMV, especially on the women's side, that I know more about. It starts at the grassroots, and you want the younger players in the area to understand the history of GW women's basketball. And I think it's I tried to. There were a couple teams around the schedule when I inherited. Coach Freeze was grateful enough to start a home and home series with us. But I think the bragging rights of the DMV. Right before I think we talk all the time of certain players having that ability to stay home and be successful at GW. Caira did it from the very start. We were fortunate enough to have Jonquel join us after a semester at Clemson, and I think that part of, we like the idea of being DC's team and want to challenge, and I think the only way you can do that is if you try to play everybody in the area and willing to go on the road to do it, have people come in here. We will continue the series with Georgetown. I think that part that, if you want to be great in an area, and it start with making sure you have the local fans here, you have the younger players from a recruiting standpoint, I think you have to engage in that. And I think it's really important we continue to do it, and not all of a sudden, I think it could be very easily, I'm 0-2 against Georgetown. It's really important we continue to play Georgetown. And our kids, play a lot of games against them. There's some bragging rights, I think, that go on in the summer in the pickup games. But I want our kids playing against the best players in the area, and not just in the summertime. I want it to come to fruition that we can get those best teams, and we've been able to do that.
Coach, why should this team be better this year, you think? And secondly, is Lauren the favorite to take Danny's job? How do you see that spot right now?
Yeah, I expect the team to be better. I think we're deeper. I think, from a leadership standpoint, this team is really growing. That's something probably as much of the productivity that Danny and Meg and Brooke provided. I think they're the only 3 players in the country that graduated that had 16 years of college basketball experience among the 3 of them. But I think with that we saw overseas, we have 14 very capable players that I think it's made our practices better. And really has given us, I think, more options of things. I think Lauren Chase is right in the mix to be able to be in a position. Keisha obviously is very experienced playing the point, both with Danny and obviously when Danny was out, whether it was due to foul trouble or something of that sort. But I think the best part is having Lauren Chase in practice every single day makes us a better team. But I like the fact that our freshmen come in and compete right away and bring different elements. Kelly Prangy is a different post player than Jonquel and Caira, as is Jada Matthews. I think Bree Cummings is a long athletic wing, different than we've had in the past. And I think Mia Farmer and Camila Tapias shoot the ball from the outside to help make up for that, the graduations with Meg and Danny. So I expect this team to be better because I think they can build on the experience, and I think that I expect, everybody sitting here in front of you to have a different role where they've grown their game individually, but ultimately I think they still know that the most important thing to our group is that we're successful as a team.
For Hannah, the team went to Europe for 10 days this summer. Talk about that experience and what's on the team coach.
Well, it's been really great because it's the first time our freshmen really got to be with us and play real games and things like that. And then we also got a bond with our new staff members and even more with the coaches, which kind of brings the whole family together, not just the team as in the players, but the whole staff and coaches.
For JJ, you get to play games in your native Bahamas this year, the Jonquel Jones. How excited are you to go home, play in front of a home crowd, and also show your teammates where you can go?
I'm extremely excited about playing at home. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be great to show everybody where I grew up and how my life is in the Bahamas. I'm very excited to have this power. It's going to be great. I just can't wait.
Anything special, any special place you want to take them?
Probably more food that I want them to eat, like cold salad, like a lot of combinations and hamburger dishes that I want them to eat. Probably more food side. To the beach and stuff.
She definitely wants to take him to the beach because when we were overseas, everybody was so impressed with the water when we were in France, except for Jonquel Jones. She quickly had to tell them, this is nice, but this isn't the Bahamas.
Caira, can you talk about how important post play is for you guys this year, and adding Kelly and Jonquel, and how important that is going to be for you guys to establish an inside game to win games and game this year?
Jada definitely adds to our dynamic. Me and JJ, I leave just her in, step out, and same with all of us. And Kelly's a great shooter as well. So I think we really have to establish our game right away from the beginning, so that makes it hard for us to guard.
You should, as a senior, are you looking at this season maybe any different than the past, maybe a little more special knowing this is kind of the last final goal round?
I'm definitely excited about this season that's coming up. Like Coach mentioned, the seniors who graduated last year left a lot for us to build on. So I think we kind of took what they left and we're using that to help us grow. And the freshmen coming in are very, very experienced, or not experienced, but very athletic. So it's gonna be fun playing, and I'm looking forward to it.
Coach, getting that win over Dayton, how important was that for the program? And obviously, they're rated as the preseason #1. I know you want to build up for that game, but to play well against them, how important was that for the program last year?
Well, I think when you look at the A10, there's obviously great traditions, but right now, here in the moment, Dayton's been to 5 straight NCAA tournaments. And so they're at that level right now that we're trying to get to. And I think being able to do it, being able to hold serve at home, especially on senior day, I can speak, that when I talk with Coach Schaible, he talks about the importance of, as a league, GW has to be good because of that tradition. And I think, our ability to beat a Dayton team, to secure second place, knowing that we expect to be in a lot more games with them that determine championships. And I think you saw that we were rewarded. Some could call it rewarded. I consider it's rewarded when you're matched up with them twice a year for the second consecutive year. And both of those games will end up being on national TV. I think our kids get excited about that. And I think the only thing I can tell you, Byron, about that is I know our kids will be excited against Dayton. I think the reason Dayton's been so good is Coach Schaber's made sure that A10 championships have to go through the other 13 teams in the league. And you've got to be able to make sure your teams are ready to play against everybody 1 through 14. And I think their consistency, that's what we're striving for. And I think winning that game, helping send Brooke and Danny and Meg off in the right way was really important. But I think also knowing that we're able to play with the best teams in the A10, not just in one game. The St. Joe's game, obviously, at St. Joe's on national TV, as well as in the A10 tournament, is we want to be mentioned in that position. But now that we're being mentioned, we want to take that and know every single day we're going to work so that we can be in that same position Dayton is currently.
Any other questions?
About your schedule, you're starting off with Florida Gulf Coast right off the bat, an opening night. You've played tough schedules in the past, the last couple of years since you've been here as well. What kind of benefit do you feel that provides your team as you get into the A10 season later on, the wear and tear of that schedule? Well, I think trying to play teams that are NCAA tournament tested on the road early on in the non-conference will get us ready for going on the road against some of the great teams in the A10. And I think engaging in the series with Florida Gulf Coast, to me, was a no-brainer because I think it's two teams that have a very similar vision. It just ended up working out that we would start it at Florida Gulf Coast, and then they'll come back here next year to play. Obviously, we have 2 young women from Florida, so that gave us another opportunity to get down into Florida. But I think going on the road and playing somebody early like that will be a great test for us. And I think, obviously, we want to win that game. We expect to win that game, but coming out of there, I think it'll provide us with a good idea of where we're at early on. But I think trying to look at some of the best, teams that have made several NCAA tournaments and that aren't necessarily in a Power 5 conference is wanting to make sure that we have those teams on our schedule along with teams from the Power 5 conference in the non-conference slate.
Yeah.
Caira, you were the 8th Rookie of the Year last year, and obviously a standout freshman season. What have you done in the offseason to prepare for your sophomore season to follow up your freshman season just as good as your
I've been doing a lot. One, getting stronger in the weight room,
I
Also,
love you a lot more when you're on the floor. Thank you.
Definitely getting stronger. Just I think my freshman year, lifting weights was new for me. So coming back strong this year will help me a lot physically to just go against players like Dayton and Maryland and big teams like that. We have really strong strength players.
And then JJ, can you just talk about playing with Caira in the front court? What kind of mismatches you guys create for the opposition?
It's great playing with Caira. She's one of the people that definitely I enjoy playing against her practice and push each other in various ways. In terms of the mismatches, I feel like we do a lot of different things. I can step out, she can also step out and shoot, which I really like. I feel like we create a lot of mismatches and our intensity is a lot of teams. So it should be great.
Keisha, you're a preseason all-defensive team selection, so congratulations on that. What makes you such a tenacious defender?
I just like to be aggressive, as aggressive as I can on the floor. Defense is all about hard and to get out there. So even if the ball's not going in, then I know if I'm playing hard on defense, I'm giving my team as much as I can of myself in some kind of